Alrighty then. Finish this stupid rental because I gotta send it back. At some point. Man. Car insurance is fucking expensive. It's a con. It's a fucking scam. So I'll never use it. It'll never do me any good either, so. Never has and never will do me any good. It's a fucking scam. Car insurance is. Paying a fucking fortune and that shit. Start doing fucking videos on the road with like a fucking phone camera, because it's the only fucking camera I got, unless you count this stupid PlayStation camera, which will ultimately do me no good. I might just fucking sell the PlayStation camera. I don't have much to sell if I start having to fucking but all I know is that I have to make sure I have money for my vehicle, like if the fucking thing breaks down or some shit. I don't have a house. That is my house. My fucking van is my house. So I gotta deal with all that shit. Plus I pay rent for a fucking room because I can't afford an apartment in this fucking state. Well, I can afford an apartment if I want to be fucking a fucking slave, you know, and not be able to have zero freedom whatsoever. I would basically be stuck to that general area. And then I would probably fucking gun myself down. I would be suicidal. Because if I was ever stuck in a situation like that, fuck that. It's not no point. There's no, why the fuck am I living in a fucking container? Would you live in a container? Okay, like, I'm not, like, blessed enough to have fucking democracy like me, or whatever the fuck corporate people like me, so. It's almost like I don't even fucking exist 90% of the time anyway, which is worse than them hating me. In some ways, so. People being paid fucking $1 million to basically do the easiest fucking shit on planet Earth, but yet no one else is able to be paid millions of dollars for that shit. Think about acting. All that shit in the fucking, all they basically do is read a fuck couple lines, sit there, fucking do it, you know, memorize the lines, and then put on the performance. And some are granted fucking more money than others. And they can even have less time than the other person next to them. Like, this fucking system is fucking rigged. It's nothing but trash. Once you learn the truth, it doesn't motivate you to live. I'll tell you that. Once you know the actual truth, and how people get by a lot of times when they figure it out is that they don't want to know. So the only way they can get by is by being stupid and downgrading their sight and their mind, because they got to cut things out that they don't want to see, because it's too much. It's too fucking real for them. That's why. Can you blame them? It's like fucking if you found out that evil was fucking everywhere all around you, trying to fucking dominate and rule and all this other power-driven bullshit, and how unstable everything. And it's nothing new. That's the thing. Sometimes people are like trying to act like it's fucking new, but it's been going on. The difference is that people just don't fucking see it all the time. You know, especially if you're preoccupying your mind or you're in slave mode, fucking working fucking 5 to 9. You know, it's like, you know, once you know, a shotgun will look far fucking more pleasant to you know, like suicide starts to become an option. You start to think dark thoughts about offing yourself, because it's like, this world is fucked. You can be like, well, you could change the world. No, you can't change the government that's built off insanity, without exterminating the government. There's no way. And then you're going to be called a terrorist and have a whole bunch of fucking people after you. They would never allow it. They would never allow true progress. 4 to 8 years, and that's only if you're lucky, like that, and how the system works, or rig it to get performance out of 4 to 8 years. Then timer is up. It's less than a fucking decade of potential success that will definitely not last. This is fucking democracy. The system is not designed to create progress. It's designed to create a beat-down insanity system that basically fucks everyone except for those who know how to take advantage of it. They think it's this glorified system that'll help people, but at the end of the day, it's just a system that's designed for those who are psychologically more superior than others to take advantage of other people and also deny the existence of it. It's like, isn't it ironic how lies are legal and then illegal only if certain types of power decide so in certain situations? Shouldn't lies be illegal, period? Should no one be allowed to lie? Or secrets? Think about it. Even a white lie telling people that Santa Claus is real, a belief system to feed in. That's some iconic ideology feeders right there. Like I said, it's all fucking designed to condition people. I know for a fact that I know, because what I've seen, and I don't know how New York is, that even Jonathan Majors, I do not believe the guy. What I saw and what I analyzed and saw, I do not believe the guy fucking broke her finger, and if he did, it was unintentionally, which is not like worth like ending someone's career over. I mean, he just, I don't know, he might look like he's in fucking potential denial about accidentally doing it, but but at the same time, it's all about what people want to do about something. But then again, is it accidental if someone is fucking harassing you and jumping all over you, making it so you can't fucking leave? What would you do if a crazy lady would fucking chase after you constantly, and you try to put her back in the car that you had no interest in? The only thing I think he's guilty of is fucking cheating, by what I've read. That's it. Just like, it's not like actually Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, though. The truth of that is that, if you look at the legal agreements, the truth of that is, believe it or not, they're both guilty for different things. But number one thing is they should have never fucking gotten a relationship to begin with. They're guilty for that. You know, you have a lot of words of mouth. People, you know, rarely see shit. It's all witnesses. But the thing is if you pay witnesses or have witnesses behind the scenes, they'll say whatever the hell. Just, you know, it doesn't matter. It's like if it's true or not, because witnesses lie too. They tell nothing but the truth inside the court of law. You know, it's like bullshit. People lie all the time. They lie outside as well. Call it constantly. So you fucking, how about, like I said it back in the day, how about you fucking tell nothing but the truth inside and outside? Like I already am seeing the future here. I don't actually even have my car or my van on the fucking road, but I already know that it's gonna cost like fucking $300 a month at a starting price for like fucking insurance by itself or two something, which is fucking absurd for something that I'll never fucking use, that'll all do no good for me. And they're like, and you can't be like, well, you might get in a car. I'm not getting in a car crash unless I fucking purposely do it. The only way I'm getting in a car crash is if I decide to fucking, I don't want my vehicle and I go decide to drive into a fucking ditch or something. That's it. And I'm like having a bad day behind the wheel. I've never, ever been stupid when it comes to, you know, I am very aware of people. People are the number one issue with this world to begin with. And like, this thing, when you come out in the fucking wild, people in New York do a lot of illegal things. In New York City too. And constantly, people are fucking out there robbing shit, stealing shit, and selling it in front of fucking stores. They got, you know, people stealing shit and then people denying that it was stolen. You just like, you know, or you're not denying, like, well, like officers denying that, you know, just don't give a shit. You know, or and then ask ridiculous, stupid questions like, do you believe in aliens? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? They're corrupt. For sure. The fucking New York authority base in general is corrupt. But so is Florida. You know, I know about a lot about Florida's shit too. Florida is different. They are different. They have, you know, a lot of differences. Florida is reading New York a lot. Like, you go to Florida, they have the New York news on constantly in Florida. They're creeping up with New York. And what they're like, you know, the way they run things is, you know, punish everyone for someone else's crime. That's, or, and another one is like, if you're homeless, how they handle their homeless crisis is they throw them in jail. I shit you not, they throw their fucking homeless in jail. Instead of helping them, they just fucking chuck them right in jail. And then once they're out of jail, they'll end up, you know, either go to a shitty ass, because you ever been to a homeless shelter in Manhattan? I mean, in Florida? There's eggshells in your eggs. I have been in a homeless shelter. I've been in a homeless shelter. And if they bring you food, there's like fucking eggshells in the eggs, because it's like they hate homeless people. They fucking hate homeless people. I mean hate, I mean they're willing to poison the food type hate. If they can't poison it, then they'll just fucking put like eggshells or something in it and hope that you choke on one. I had a fucking shitload of eggshells in my eggs. Like they're, you know, it was like, they didn't give a fuck. work is just is a stage, and even authorities are aware it's a stage, and even authorities take advantage of it. For God's sakes, Ariana Grande was fucking raped by a preacher. A fucking preacher of God. That's supposed to be some holy figure that's supposed to give a shit. It's an evil fucking world. It's an evil fucking world. Well, it's not the world, it's people. Full of corruption. It's like, to even have innocence and purity in this world is like great sacrifice. And then God forsakes it, people know if innocence or if your innocence or purity, like like you're a virgin or some shit, like you've never been touched, and the God, and you're out there in numbers and broad daylight. It's like putting fucking a giant ass fucking light on you while everyone else is in the dark, because they're able to support privacy for all the psychopaths that are actually behind the scenes. You think the police keep up with all that shit? They can't even fucking go and arrest the right people 90% of the time for issues. I mean, they just read a book and go by it. Like, quite a bit of them don't even do any detective work whatsoever. They just fucking read and then respond to what they read. Because it's like just brain dead respond to what they read, which was written out to someone else, written out to them. Some, like quite a bit of them actually I've seen do that. So whoever's writing out that shit is actually the real crook, quite often. Or the real crook, you could argue and say, is the cops that choose not to learn how to fucking investigate for themselves, instead of depending on other investigators. But then again, it's like they're not legally allowed to, jurisdiction type shit. So it's all fucking corrupt. It really is one hell of a fucked up system. I've always been like the black sheep, the outcast. Eventually, when people start saying calling you names, or telling people that you're something that you're not, you grow up out of school and it still continues after school differently, though. Usually it's more, now when you're an adult, usually it's around to try to knock you down in the system, even further, to gain power over someone. It's a little bit different. That in school it's like more ignorant, like they're really fucking stupid, but it's in outside they're more intelligent and more evil. So it's like, and eventually you could just be like, next second you're lying, and you're turning the lie into a shield or a weapon, or you're just letting it break you down. But differently. Instead of letting it make you upset, you'd be like, you might even absorb it differently. How you take it in. So, and it's a giant mess. No one is it's like, I met people that worked on the farm, or was even handled meat, chopped up meat, and stuff like that. Was in a butcher shop, and the government really even fucks people over there. Like, if you saw what happens behind the scenes before it hits the stores, and then how they distribute all that stuff, because you think about it, it comes all from the farmers. Even the politicians aren't doing this shit. Politicians are just book writers and law writers and back and forth trying to, manipulate the system. They're all crooks. Like, it's just a psychological mindfuckery game. Or design. It's design. So, you could want to be able to be free and make things even, but still be fucking, especially if you're in the spotlight. Then people will be like targeting you. You'll be fucking targeted. Then you will have to go to war for the rest of your life, more than likely, on and off, with the corrupt system. Or you just surrender and just give up and say, yep, I killed 199 people. And then they'll arrest you, because that's what they want to do anyway with a lot of people. But they don't know where to store everyone, so they're that stupid too. A hatred blinds them in quite a bit of places. But they'll also be able to, murder you behind the scenes, like the government has done before with several people. See the world a certain way. See the world a certain way. It's peripheral fucking coat of paint over your eyes ain't gonna change the fact that evil's happening. Let's just talk about the wonderful stuff. Always see the wonderful stuff. The wonderful stuff. It's hard to even, the wonderful stuff that's locked behind democracy and all these labyrinths that want to rule, that don't truly love. Then I just make prostitution like completely legal in New York last time I checked. Like, or as long as you don't use money or some shit. Like, are you, you fucking kidding me? You can use like gift cards and shit. I think it's what the law says. It's like it's so sinful to begin with. The whole fucking system's rigged, and you're not gonna gain if you want them as your audience and them as your supporters, and you have to be pro their life and love their life verbally, and then it just, and all that does is just adds more and more and more. And now you have to balance and make sure that you're not consumed by the toxicity. It's like, weed's unlocked now. And then it's battling back and forth. People trying to find some way to, control that still, despite that it's legal. And you have they try to make liquor illegal. They go for all these things. The problem is that, they may be sins, but guess what else is a sin? Eating meat and killing animals. So it's like this whole fucking sacrificial trade rate of technically, logically, it is. Even if you're nice about it, even if you ease the cow before you slaughter it, before you put down the cow before you put it in, to go create the meat, butcher it. Some are more brutal. They think they're all nice. Nah. There's plenty of animals that are brutally murdered. There is live footage, actually, that leaked of people that were brutalizing pigs. But even with that live footage, if you took it to the court of law, it just depends on who the fuck the judge is and the jury. You'd be taking it through a whole system by the time someone probably gives a fuck. And then, once they give a fuck, the people who don't give a fuck might take you back to court eventually later on, just to make sure to tell everyone, well, there's nothing evil about this. Welcome to democracy. It's fucking insanity, is what it is. People get pissed. It's like, well, it's better than this. They're like, instead of actually solving shit, they're just like defending, like, oh, it's better than this at least. So you got something better? And they don't actually even say that. They don't even actually say that. They never said that once. Did you have something better? The world is so... This is hell. My grandma used to say that all the time, or say it quite a bit. And my grandma would say, there ain't no hell when you die. Because hell's right here on fucking planet Earth. And I actually, think, throughout my life that I've lived, I believe that it is hell. I mean, there's the blind illusion of heaven because there's too much numbers. You might be blessed or lucky, or measure enough just to get a sliver of heaven. Or if you're evil in just all the right ways, for all the right people that are in the current numbers, at the top, then you can have even potentially a little bit longer heaven in hell. But it doesn't change the fact that it's hell. It's, at best, it's heaven in hell. At best. It's never not hell. It's just those who know how to rule it and know how to be selfish to have heaven longer, because they're caught and they just continue to be servants of hell. I was like, a lot of times I used to see, when I seen a dollar bill, I used to see a giant snake right in the fucking dollar bill, and like a dragon in a line, like going around the line. And it's like, just like this whole, like, straight out of like some sinful, satanic, type of shit. It's like, and you'd be like, oh, it's a myth, but the more you dig and the more you uncover, especially with atoms and shit and particles, and know how people operate, and it's not. There's cults that you don't even know exist, because you can't even keep up with how many people are interested in cults and how many people are going in different ways of cults. The authorities can't even. Authorities will even, if people do things right. Scientology is a cult that did things right? I mean, they got fucking giant buildings everywhere, and they're everywhere. So, so, and it's like, I even remember having a conversation with a police officer in Los Angeles, and the police officer, and I said, I know. He's like, that's like Scientology. I was just like, I knew Scientology was a cult, but I was like, I'm pretty sure I said it like this, just even though I already knew what I said. I'm pretty sure Scientology is a cult. And then they're like, yeah, that's what we were just talking about. So they were like, it's a cult. They were like, it's very powerful stuff. It's, it's the way they use it, for example, is enough to win over a shitload of people, from high powerful people like celebrities, popes, governmental officials. It ain't no joke. It's very serious. That's the one thing you have to realize. It's a very, very serious cult. And right now, I would even say it's still one of the most powerful, even though it drifts in and out of people's consciousness. Like, they almost forget it exists every now and then. But yet, it doesn't deny its existence. Like some cults do deny their existence. Or if you're fucking anonymous and you're one of the biggest fucking hypocrites on planet Earth, like, they're one of the biggest hypocrites. And the sad thing is sometimes anonymous is even trying to help people, and then it's like counterpredicts itself. It's a cult that literally counterpredicts itself, folds in on itself. So everything good it does, it just caves right back in on itself for the wrong that it's doing. What's that remind you of? Fucking, we're having a democracy. Open the goddamn gates of the United States. Sometimes I think, like, if other countries are even at war, or if there's even any of this shit that's going on, because I've never actually been overseas to Europe. Like, it's just like, they're just really fucking phenomenal actors, just trying to play with heartstrings. Like, oh my god, buy this puppy, or we need people to do this or this, and they show you those advertisements to make you feel bad, to show you and draw you in, right? But first of all, we wouldn't have that issue to begin with if people didn't make that issue. That is a human-made issue. And it's like, so if someone throws their garbage on the beach, trying to murder the beach and all the animal life, so then we have to go out there and fucking clean it every goddamn time. People got to go out there and fucking clean it every fucking time. It's just, it's ultimately insane. They're not stopping these people. That's fucked. And then, like, that's the thing with Florida. Like, being on the beach at night is actually better a lot of times than at day, because you get some of the best beaches by yourself and you can kind of relax. But God forsakes, if you're caught at a beach in Florida, even if you're just hanging out for, you just pull in and decide you're gonna fucking, I don't know, hang out, or even if you were gonna fucking clean the beach at night, it'd be like, nope. It's like, even if you're going there for a good thing or action, it'd still be like, nope. Because you'd have to go through the authorities and then the authorities would say, do it during the day. I bet you more than anything is what they'd say. Or don't do it at all. It's like Florida. But it's like, homeless people. There's all different reasons why people are homeless. So when someone hates homeless people, it's, right? It's just like, it's like hating all, of one category or something that has multiple more layers to it. That, You know, it doesn't make any sense. I actually does make sense. I think it weighs in on people, where hatred is designed a lot of times is off the weights, because it speaks to their demons, you know, and that's why they're like, you know, they're fighting for superiority or this dollar or the rule. Like, people want, like, to rule an area or something and have it their law, their way. It's like their house, right? And it's suppression. It's a lot of culture wars. It's a very suppression rate, and it's like, in corporations coming and going out of certain states. Like, if I was a corporation, I would feel threatened if my business was in Florida. I feel like, because, you know, I don't, you know, you guys could deal with all these things, and then if you, I don't know, potentially. So it's, but then again, how California is, like, if you're talking like Disney, or let's use company as Disney or something, but Disney ain't no damn saint as a company. Like, they've had sinful people come in and out of their business multiple times, and they've even forgiven certain people. They've forgiven Robert Downey Jr. for what, being an alcoholic on drugs and shit like that. If I recall, I don't know the whole story, but I know that he was on drugs and a long time, or alcohol. But apart from that, I mean, it's like, that's not really that bad, I suppose, compared to like someone like hurting someone physically. But then when you're firing people over words, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's what I'm like looking at fucking Twitter at times, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like what some of them, quite a bit of them, are saying. But why did you hire them to begin with? If you don't, you know, it's like, especially if some of them are storytellers. I mean, it's like, shouldn't you, like, fire everyone that's involved in every horror movie then, if that's the case? Because they're gory, they're pro-terrorists, and they're pro, you know, all that other shit, right? I mean, seriously, like, it makes no sense. It's insane. It folds in on itself. It's true. It's like, God forsakes if you like something that you shouldn't, too. And you have to reprogram things. It's like, what do you get from this? Do you benefit from having interest in something? You know, it's, you know, communism. There's one part of communism that says that you don't do, like, pretty much don't do with the, you know, don't do something unless you're good at it. You have a skill set at it. Is basically, is what it kind of says. And then democracy says, even if you're not good at it, you know, just, who cares? Just whatever happens, happens. Someone can choose if they want you, even if you're not the best. And it's like, and so it does have, you know, it's very weird, like, torn on each of that shit, because it's like, well, do you want the best or do you not want the best? And I could just be hated alone for just taking a piece of, like, communism and suggest that this might actually be, you know, potentially better than the other, than another piece. I'm saying a piece. I'm not saying the whole damn thing. So, in other words, what I'm saying is, like, as a philosopher, you got to rearrange this shit. You can't be taking someone else's complete entire scripture, because if you did, you wouldn't be changing shit. It'd be complete garbage. You'd still have all the cancer, because they both have cancer, both both capitalism and fucking communism. So it's have really bad things integrated in both. So it's like, obviously, communism can lead in a very dark place, a much darker place, called suppression, right? So it's like, that's why it's It scares the hell out of people. That's why there's clearly, definitely. But there's still suppression anyway in America. People suppressing people, and you have to be this way or that way, or you're a piece of shit. You know, all these other things. Like, it's a fucking lose-lose. That's democracy. Democracy could even decide one day to get rid of capitalism. I mean, capitalism is just an under layer that is beneath democracy, because democracy is actually even more on top. Democracy is great, like, if you can be with your people, and you're not outnumbered, because it does bank a lot on numbers as well, and quality, of who's on your side. But if you can't get home or on that side, or you are struggling, then you need help getting there. Like, the government ain't gonna help you get there. What the fuck is the government gonna do to help you get there? Like, that's just absurd. The government don't help shit. So it's like they just stalemate or create dependency. I know firsthand that they create dependency. They make you depend on them. It's like it's another type of suppression, like the government. So they'll seek to do, like, they want you to submit somewhere so they can end up having you and that. So it's like, if you're a part of the government, you could be the evilest fucking person on planet Earth, as long as you're, doing it for the good guys. That's a huge problem right there. It's 4 or 8 years or something. So we have pros and cons. It's like, but at the end of the day, throughout my entire life, I've seen presidents donate resources. I've seen presidents talk a lot and sign a lot. But I don't think I've ever seen a president actually do a physical good thing, unless it regarded to, taking from what was already suppressed and giving back to what they already had, or what the government already had, which is like the best thing I've ever seen presidents do in my life. But is when they actually will provide resources for the people that need. But they don't always do that. And then it's like, and plus they don't. I've never seen a president resolve like a massive crisis inside the United States. They'll talk about the massive crisis and work with law enforcement, but I don't even know if any president that has even been president even has a mindset equipped for that. Like, you have one that speaks from heart more than anything, you could say, which is great. I mean, it's nice to hear nice things, right? But it doesn't actually stop the bad guys, the villains. But then you have another one that, if you put fucking a dollar bill in front of them, or $1 million trillion, it would totally distract them and prioritize their entire mindset, and they would start turning people into money if you're not careful, because it has the other one has demons. It's so in its own department. So it's like, but that other one, with the right pope, could do something that would piss a lot of people off, like perhaps say, you know what, we're going to fucking force this wall up, and whether you like it or not, and then we're going to fucking, we're going to strategically target all these bases where Russia's invading Ukraine, if it's even true. I've not been there myself, but if, instead of sitting back and providing resources, you know, start targeting these hotspots. If you're so fucking concerned about it, then why not bomb them or send robots after them? You for God's sakes, we live in the fucking 21st century. You could absolutely send robots after them. Which then you wouldn't even need to send soldiers or human soldiers after them. I mean, you might want very clever, stealthy technicians, but just so just in case. But it's either that or you team up with Russia. You'd prevent World War III by teaming up with a bad guy. That would be a guarantee. But you'd also be an evil son of a bitch preventing, because by doing so. Or you team up with Ukraine, and then you basically, you have to really execute your next moves correctly, or it will go into World War III. You need China on your side. That's even whether you like them or not. They're going to power struggle. You don't want them supporting Russia. North Korea's fucked. They're a threat regardless. They're unless you're like able to get inside and be the nicest damn person to Kim Jong-un, and you really all you have to do is give Kim Jong-un gifts a lot of times, and you can kind of like, where his power stance is. Like, as long as you keep the leader happy and satisfied, then the chances of them actually wanting to waste, because they're not attacking their own place. So if you make Kim Jong-un believe the United States is his, like in his head, think about it. You just gotta trick him, deceive him. Vladimir, you may not like him, but he's a genius. I can see it all over him. He's not stupid. He's a very smart guy. That happened to know how to speak to people's demons and get them to go after and do horrific things. I'm pretty sure he never shot anyone in his heart. He doesn't have to shoot anyone. The guy doesn't know. He just talks to people's demons. And in fact, I can even think he would be, despite you might think he's evil, I also think you could fucking there's some funny shit. Like, just like even Kim Jong-un, some of the people you think are evil, you could probably have a good fucking time with. So, find something to communicate with and just connect temporarily. To create a moment, even with the worst people on planet Earth, you could say. I mean, even back then, if you ever, a lot of things, I look at Hitler, when I read I read a lot of his audio logs. I listened to them. I don't want to say listened to them. I read them, like, even though I did hear them. And the guy was blind. I mean, the guy was mentally blind. I mean, clear as day. He was just a voice. Like, he didn't have, someone else with the brains, and at some point he lost the brains. But it sure in hell was never him. Because if you ever study the way things were, he was the painting. He was like, if the painting that everyone was staring at, and it was the voice, and the painting shot out, it was like a giant frame. He didn't have the brains. Whenever he did, he would like miscalculate, misread things, like, all the time. Like, his head wasn't there. Like, almost sometimes made me think, like, whoever was, the brains actually made one fatal issue, and that was that they convinced Hitler that he was the brains instead. On their side. But then it worked out in the favor of the Allies. Because whenever the brains disappeared, Hitler started becoming baffled and wondering why. Laugh at the face of evil. Sometimes I look at Hitler like the Iron Man 3 villain. That fucking villain that is the actor. It's not the real Mandarin, but the actor Mandarin. It's like... I mean, even the actor Mandarin shot someone. He actually did. He was able to kill someone. I'm pretty sure, like, he did, if I recall. And they just convinced the audience that he didn't. And then went back and be like, I'm just an actor. Like, whoever pitched that really hijacked Iron Man 3. They fucking hijacked whatever script it was previously, went in and was like, I'm an actor. And then they were probably like, fucking, we gotta do that. They were like someone that was in charge. They were just like, wow, we gotta do that. They were like, fucking hear them the fucking pitch in the room the way it's all sounds. They are, though, Disney is one of the biggest corporations that is one of the biggest hypocrites, full of hypocrisy that I've ever fucking, is like screams the loudest in all these companies. The hypocrisy. They are hypocrites. Definitely. I mean, have you seen Shang-Chi? They're trying to justify the 10 rings. Why they downgraded the 10 rings. Simplify the 10 rings. You can argue the case that they're just fucking lazy. Right? You can say, like, they don't do fucking shit. They just didn't want to write in, separate power sets. For me, I didn't even care if they were bracelets, like the way they did 10 rings. It was more the downgrade of the power. Like, they literally didn't want to spend any time with anything that was unique about the abilities in the comics. So it's like, oh, that's too much for my mind. I can't do this. And I'm supposed to be a professional writer. Oh, shit. There's a lot of writers. I mean, there's a lot of different types of people out there. And it's like, someone once said to me that, like, and then I heard him on YouTube as well, people saying it too, but said that it's just there's too much. And I was like, I instantly disagreed. Like, I was like, no, that's not the problem. The problem, why it becomes too much, what creates weight to it to begin with, to make it too much, is the fact that it's poorly organized and it's full of sins that it's like that no one knows how to hold it together and make accuracy. That's over there. And even if someone did, they have to jump through loops to just be able to fucking tell their vision. I mean, I could connect that shit. I know for a fact I could, but it's like, but then I also know for a fact I couldn't. Here's why. Because I'm not in charge of the fucking company. That's why. And when I'm outside of movies, I don't have the right people around me. So I'm not always a pleasant speaker. I don't always talk nice. So it's like, on top of that. So I'm not even gonna bother because I know they'd fire me. That's why you look at like Blumhouse and stuff, because it's like horror, people that work at horror movies, it's like, it's actually more, it's heavy because you're working with horror content. It's not lighthearted. So, but at the same time, it's like, you can say fuck all damn day with quite a bit of them. Say the worst fucking possible things behind, and I think these companies understand that it's just. Whereas at the end, they in their career prioritizes mostly on their project. It's a horror movie to begin with, in a world full of horrors. So it's always a sin to make a horror movie to begin with, if you think about it. Even if it's fiction. So that's why people can go and say, they're demons of toxicity and use it as marketing tactics. And it's one of the easiest fucking things out there when there's a fucking shitload of humans full of demons to begin with. It's a business to, potentially to put them, they'll put them in the spotlight at least, so the world can see at least most of what they do, to make sure that they don't actually do it off screen or out of the, while they're, out of sight. They can go and do it in the movies. But you are inviting toxicity. Even like I can write horror, and even speak of the horrors of the world, but you do. It's shit can get heavy because it's not pleasant shit. It's not happy shit that you're writing or saying. So it's. I think if I were to be blinded by the United States government, that'd be the only way, I think, honestly, that I would fall entirely stupid, be able to have even a chance to be fucking retarded. That would be as if they let me make movies, and I find my people to help me, then I'd fall right into the stupid that they want. As long as no one provokes me to get into politics, because I could also be easily drawn into it, especially if I'm in the spotlight and I have a power stance. And not because I want to, but because I just snap, get fed up, and I'm like, you know what, fuck this. You're drawing me in, I'll do it, fine. But how I go about it, I may walk away hating myself afterwards, depending on which way I go about it. It's like fucking Severus Snape. Sometimes you have to play the villain and get the world to hate you, to even be able to have a chance to take out the big evil, the real evil. That ain't a hell of a sacrifice. Then what the hell is? Like, Severus Snape is a very good example. It spoke, to me more than any other character in the fucking Wizarding world that J.K. Rowling made. The guy was literally the worst at speaking, but amazing at creating and had an amazing amount of abilities, but didn't even know how to translate his love. He was good at being evil, but he didn't want to be. It wasn't him. That's why. He was actually a truly good guy, just so happened to be good at toxicity. You know what you're saying? Do what you're good at. Now imagine if you didn't like what you were good at. And what you liked. You weren't. You weren't. I mean, Severus Snape had power enough. If he wanted to go down the Lord Voldemort road, he could have. But he didn't want to, that's the thing. He could have. He had the power set to do so, but he didn't want to. That's his demon, his problem, at the end of the day. Like I said, is that he wasn't really evil. He just was good at being evil. Winston Churchill. Well, who will I be today? Not everyone has that luxury. Or to be able to do that, and if they do, they can end up crushing and losing their heart, their soul in the process to a career that doesn't provide life for them. It provides life for something else. Something that I think most of them don't even see it providing life to. See, like, think about a dark ambience. And, like, the devil doesn't want you to see what you're investing in. You know, going into the toxicity to go blind. It's a great way to also get the people that you actually love to hate you. Yeah, I can make horror movies, but I want to drive my heart away.